Welcome to the CLA Builders podcast. If you own a home in Los Angeles, you definitely know the unspoken rule of compact living.
Oh, yeah.
Square footage is the ultimate luxury. And, nowhere is that more painful than in a tight bathroom.
hmm
We're talking about those historic bungalows, the really dense multifamily units, or even those gorgeous Spanish revival homes where the bathroom just feels like an afterthought.
Totally.
So today, we are doing a deep dive into small bathroom remodeling ideas, specifically tailored for LA, how to maximize style, function, and maybe most importantly, that perceived space.
And our mission here is to cut through all the generic advice you find online. We want to deliver some sophisticated, really actionable insights, and we're drawing them directly from the playbook of CLA Builders.
Okay, let's set the stage for us. Who are they?
They're a premier general contractor right here in Los Angeles. They specialize in high-end residential and commercial projects, and their whole reputation is built on blending, timeless design with just superior craftsmanship.
In their philosophy.
It's all about quality, integrity, and service. And we're applying that to what is, for many, the most challenging space in the house.
And it's so important that we establish their scope, right? Because renovating a 1920s cottage in Pasadena is a totally different world than a modern condo in Santa Monica.
Completely different. And they serve all of it. Los Angeles proper, Pasadena, the San Fernando Valley, Santa Monica, and beyond.
That diverse experience is exactly why their strategies are so good. I mean, they've seen every weird plumbing stack and every oddly angled wall this city has to offer.
Exactly. When you're dealing with historic constraints or just really tight lots, the stakes are so much higher. Their methods have to be precise because there's zero margin for error.
So let's unpack that. Why does tackling a tiny, maybe 50 square foot bathroom require the same high-end expertise you'd use for a huge luxury kitchen? I think most people assume small job, small budget.
Right, but it's the opposite. Small means hyper-complex.
Oh,
Well, CLA Builders' core mission is to bring a vision to life with precision and passion. The goal is creating spaces that not only reflect your lifestyle, but, and this is crucial, enhance the long-term value of the property.
Okay.
When the square footage is that tight, every single millimeter counts. You're not just building a bathroom, you're designing. Well, you used a great analogy earlier. It's like the cockpit of a fighter jet.
Yeah. Everything has to be perfectly optimized.
Perfectly optimized, custom fitted, and it all has to function flawlessly in minimal space. That's where the high-end expertise comes in. They have the technical know-how to actually achieve that level of precision.
And the source material really highlights how they manage that complexity. It's about their whole project structure.
It is. It's called the design-build model. And in the chaos of LA permitting historic districts and, tight timelines, this model is the anchor.
So what is it exactly?
It simplifies everything by combining architectural planning, design, permitting, and construction. All of it under one roof.
So it gets rid of all that finger pointing that can happen between the designer and the builder.
It completely removes it. Communication is streamlined instantly, but it's really about quality control. When you're trying to install a floating vanity in an 80-year-old home where nothing is level,
Right.
the planning team has to be directly connected to the execution team. That integrated approach leads to faster timelines, way better budget control, and just consistently superior detail-oriented outcomes.
So if that model is the foundation, what are the first design principles they actually bake into the process? Let's move from the how to the what.
That leads us straight into manipulating perception, making the room feel grander than it actually is.
That's the key, isn't it? It's an optical illusion engineered by craftsmen. The best way to make a small bathroom feel expansive isn't always moving walls. It's manipulating light and visibility.
The foundational strategy is maximizing light, but we need to go a little deeper than just use white paint. It's about creating reflective, continuous surfaces. The sources really emphasize using very light-colored, glossy finishes, or even things like micro-cement or large-format polished slabs on the walls and floors.
So why the focus on glossy and reflective? What's the science there?
It's because that finish actively reflects light, bouncing it back into the room. It's what visually reduces that feeling of confinement. A matte white room looks clean, sure, but a glossy, polished white room feels airy because the light is literally multiplying itself.
And what about natural light? I mean, in dense LA housing, you're often staring at your neighbor's wall.
It's a huge challenge. If you can, you maximize it with windows or skylights. Even a small, high window, like a clerestory window, can bring in daylight without compromising privacy.
Which is key.
Absolutely vital. And if natural light just isn't an option, then the layered artificial lighting has to compensate. We're talking integrated linear lighting, maybe some toe kick lighting, and definitely task lighting by the mirror to kill any shadows.
So moving from light to flow, let's talk about the layout. How do you place everything to make it feel, organic and comfortable?
Flow is paramount. The key advice is to establish a clear, unobstructed sightline. You have to keep the path from the door to the shower to the toilet feeling completely open.
It just makes you feel less claustrophobic.
Exactly, and this is where that material choice comes back in, especially the large format tile trick. This isn't just for looks, it's structural to the design.
Explain that.
Well, using large tiles, we're talking 24 by 48 inch or even bigger porcelain slabs on floors and walls, means you have way fewer grout lines. Fewer lines create this visual sense of continuity. The surface looks like a single seamless plane, and that cohesion is what makes a space feel so much bigger.
But wait, in an old LA home, the floors are never level. How do you actually install a massive rigid tile in a tiny imperfect room without getting a lip or a wobble?
That is an excellent point, and that is exactly where the high-end expertise comes in. The floor prep has to be meticulous. You often need extensive leveling, maybe self-leveling compounds, and absolute precision setting techniques.
So you can't skip that step.
It's non-negotiable. If you don't do that prep work perfectly, especially in a compact space, the entire high-end finish is ruined.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. Shifting from the floor to the fixtures, we need to choose things that basically disappear or reclaim those valuable inches.
Right. How do we get that minimal footprint? We target 3 things: corner utilization, wall integration, and floating designs.
Let's start with corners.
A corner sink is a classic trick. It frees up floor space and just redirects the traffic flow away from the center of the room.
And what about getting things off the ground? I'm guessing that's the high-end choice.
Absolutely. Wall-mounted designs are crucial. A wall-mounted faucet streamlines the whole look, and a wall-mounted toilet, the kind with the concealed tank in the wall, clears the floor area completely.
And seeing that floor space underneath just creates the perception of more room.
It creates a perception of greater volume. Exactly. And the same principle applies to the vanity, which is usually the heaviest thing in the room visually.
So a floating vanity.
It's essential. It maximizes that visible floor space, giving the illusion of depth. You still get smart, enclosed storage, but without that bulky, boxed-in feeling of a traditional cabinet.
Okay, speaking of volume, let's talk about the shower. Frameless glass doors are always the recommendation. But in a tiny 8-foot LA bathroom, doesn't that just mean water everywhere?
That is the genuine challenge of a small, open shower. You're right. If the drainage is wrong, it's a complete disaster.
So how do you get it right?
The solution is engineering the shower pan slope with extreme precision. You often use a single-pitch floor that leads to a sleek, linear drain placed right at the entrance or along a wall. This ensures super efficient water capture.
And I imagine the waterproofing underneath has to be perfect.
It's non-negotiable, especially in a dense building. You use high-quality, continuous waterproof membranes to protect the whole structure.
Which makes that beautiful frameless glass actually worth it. It gets rid of the heavy visual line of a frame or a curtain, so your eye just travels across the whole space.
And you can apply that same light principle inside a shower, too. Use light-colored or reflected tiles, of course. But also think about how you install them.
What do you mean?
A vertical tile layout, for example, guides the eye upward. It emphasizes the ceiling height and visually stretches that small square footage.
Clutter is the enemy of calm, right? Especially when space is tight. So how do we conquer storage without making the walls look like a cluttered mess?
We have to use a vertical strategy. Look up. Instead of wide, shallow cabinets, you want to prioritize tall, slender linen towers or maybe some integrated shelving right above the toilet.
So you preserve that precious floor area.
You preserve the floor area. And I love the design choice of storage that's completely recessed.
Oh, like built-in niches?
Exactly. Recessed niches in the shower wall for shampoo bottles, or mirrored medicine cabinets that are set into the wall. They offer a ton of storage without protruding into the room at all. You're using the depth of the wall cavity itself.
Okay, what about the small stuff? Accessories, hardware. When every little element is under a microscope, what choices reduce that visual weight?
Minimal hardware is key. Less is genuinely more here. You want the eye to just glide across surfaces, so you choose slim pulls, simple faucets, and really unobtrusive towel bars.
You're reducing the visual stops.
It's a perfect way to put it. You're reducing anything that breaks up the calm lines of the design.
And then the ultimate optical illusion tool, The mirror.
The power of a mirror cannot be overstated. A single large mirror that spans the full width of the vanity, or even one that goes vertically almost to the ceiling. It reflects light and space so dramatically.
It effectively doubles the perceived space.
It's the simplest, most effective trick there is.
And finally, let's bring it all back to the atmosphere. We've talked about light colors, but how do we manage the color palette so it feels restful, not sterile?
You want to stick pretty strictly to soft, neutral tones or muted hues. These keep the room feeling calm and open, which is a necessary quality in a busy city like LA.
But you can use some color.
Oh, absolutely. But you use brighter colors as carefully balanced accents, maybe in your towels or a small piece of art. If you overwhelm a small room with bold patterns or too much color, you create visual crowding, which just defeats the entire purpose of the open layout we just engineered.
So to summarize the core idea here, remodeling a compact LA bathroom requires more than just smart design. It really demands precision engineering, clean layouts, and a clever manipulation of light and vertical space.
You're basically using every high-end trick in the book to transform a tight constraint into a stylish, practical, and visually expansive retreat.
And as you're going through this, what are the common mistakes that will just undo all this careful planning?
Okay, the worst offenders are, 1, too many conflicting patterns. It makes the space feel busy and chaotic. 2, oversized furniture or heavy decor that just overwhelms the room. And 3, and this is critical, ignoring proper ventilation.
Right.
Small bathrooms trap moisture so easily, and bad ventilation will quickly damage those beautiful high-end finishes.
That attention to detail is really what protects the long-term investment.
Ultimately, the value of working with an experienced professional like Cala Builders, getting that comprehensive knowledge, combining the design vision with thoughtful material selection, and the expert zero-error planning that a compact space absolutely demands.
It transforms a tight space from a challenge into a highly curated haven. So what does this all mean? If focusing on light, continuous surfaces and clear sight lines makes a small, challenging room feel grander, what other areas of your home or even your life might benefit from reducing visual clutter and strategically enhancing open, clear pathways? Think about that clarity, that openness as you move forward.